President-elect. Until November.
This House is in session. Minutes for the meeting held on Tuesday, October 12, 2021, to be deferred.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the aforesaid minutes be deferred.
Questions that the aforesaid minutes be deferred. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it. The aforementioned minutes are hereby deferred.
You want- Announcements by Your Honor, the Speaker. Messages from Her Excellency the Governor General, petitions, papers, and government notices.
Honorable Leader, government business.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of a resolution to extend the public health emergency.
Private members' notices, notices of questions, reports from select committees, first readings of bills, statements by ministers, congratulatory and/or obituary speeches, personal explanations, motions for leave of absence, oral replies to questions, notices of motions for the adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance, orders of the day.
Honorable Leader, government business.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of standing orders 6, 16, 18, 20, 42, subsection 5, 43, and 44 for the remainder of the day's sitting.
The question is that the aforementioned standing orders be suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it. The aforementioned standing orders are hereby suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting.
Government business, sir.
Government business is the order of the day.
Order number 10, in the name of the Honorable Minister of Health and Wellness, to move the passing of a resolution to extend the public health emergency.
Honorable Murphy, City of Bridgetown.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I do not intend to speak for very long, but I think it necessary that I provide the justification that is necessary for the extension that we are seeking. I will start by reinforcing the point that the emergency powers were intended for one thing and one thing only, and that is to allow us the flexibility of being able to manage what obviously is a continuous and a developing situation in the COVID pandemic. And the emergency powers facilitates a number of things, and I will touch on them very briefly. And as a result of that, given where we are at this point in time, we consider it necessary for the extension, and especially because none of us, no country, none of us know exactly when this thing is going to end. We don't know when the next variant is going to be at our doorsteps, and we have to be able to manage and to move sometimes from one particular strategy to another, and that is something that we've had to do within recent times as we continue to feel the impacts of the Delta variant. We all know that our transmission rates are continuing to climb, and we know that the numbers are increasing as well. And so what we've done is to shift our strategy to be able to deal with this present situation, the prevailing situation. And our focus at the moment is really to try to protect and save lives. That is the focus, because people are getting sicker, and we know that every life matters, and we are continuing to work towards the preservation of and the saving of lives. But in order to be able to do a lot of the things that we do, and because the numbers are climbing, sometimes we have to increase the number of isolation facilities. For example, we've gone to the point now of home isolation, And these isolation facilities and the management of these facilities under the ambit of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, these things are facilitated to a large extent through the emergency power so that we can have isolation centers, for example, that are school buildings. And within recent times, we've had to create isolation centers within senior citizens or nursing homes because of outbreaks at some of those facilities. And Dr. Corey Ford and his team deem it prudent for us to be able to isolate in place, especially dealing with elderly persons. And I am happy to report that even within recent times, we've had 2 situations that we've been dealing with. And the prudent management of the team by isolating those persons in place, and the fact that, thank God, the vast majority of the clients were fully vaccinated, that we are comfortable at this point in time that we don't have any significant issues within those 2 particular facilities. And this, of course, we have to say thanks to Dr. Ford and his team. And I say that now because just to put an end to some rumors that have been circulating recently, Dr. Corey Ford is still working as the person responsible for the management of isolation facilities in Barbados. I met with him this morning online, virtually, as I always do every single day. I spoke with him last night. He's not on any form of leave, and he's performing exceedingly well, and he will continue to do so. Because, like for me, for Dr. Ford, it is no retreat, no surrender. And I also don't know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the Honorable Prime Minister speaks with Dr. Ford every day, even at night, and Dr. Ford sometimes tells me when he calls me early in the morning that he just came off the phone with the Honorable Prime Minister discussing matters. So I don't know where that came from, but let me just say for once and for all, not only is it fake news, but it's a very, very poor joke on somebody who's attempting to create havoc in the place. But we also need the extension of the emergency powers in order to facilitate the continuation of the Cuban Medical Brigade in Barbados, and that has been a significant part of helping us to be able to deal with what we're dealing with, and that will continue for as long as it is necessary. But more importantly, we have protocols for the management of COVID, similar to laws in order to manage situations within societies. And the enforcement of the protocols, or getting people to comply with the protocols, that is also a very, very important feature in our fight against COVID. And the emergency powers, like the protocols, we do not use in any punitive way, but we do have to fall back to certain positions when we have segments of the society that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so as we continue to manage the pandemic, as challenging as it is, and it will continue to be, we strongly believe that in the framework of the general management of the pandemic, which includes the emergency powers that we utilize at this point in time, and that with all the experience that we've gathered over the last 20 months or so in dealing with this issue, that no matter how significant the challenge, no matter how daunting it may seem, no matter how tired we may become and weary we may be down from time to time, but we will never be out. And like Corey Ford and his team, Dr. Beckles and her team in the lab, those who are working the front lines at the ports of entry, those who are working in the polyclinics, in the hospitals, and all the support staff, those who are working with the vaccine programs and so on. We do what we do, and all of us, we do what we do for one very important reason. And we don't do it for the government of Barbados that we love. We don't do it for the opposition parties that have their role to play. We do it because we strongly believe that this country, Barbados, in good times and bad times, is still worth fighting for. And so, Mr. Speaker, we are seeking the concurrence of this honorable chamber for the extension. And we have to do this from time to time because we do not know, we cannot anticipate, although sometimes you see certain signs that tell you that something lies ahead. The variants are coming one behind the other. And so we have to continue to plan. We are fighting on the one hand and planning for what may be coming on the other hand. And we have to do this collectively in terms of all of our assets and all of our departments. And we have to do this both private sector and public sector, and with our international partners to help us to be as best prepared as we possibly can for what is going to come after this. And we do not know what that is going to look like. But we're dealing with what we have right now, and we believe that with the grace of God and the help of every single person in this country who has a responsibility, a personal responsibility, a national responsibility, and the collective responsibility of all the different institutions and the organs in this country, that no matter what we're facing right now, we shall and we will overcome. And with those few words, I beg to move that this resolution now pass.
Make the second it.
The question is that this resolution do now pass. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. Meeting the ayes have it. This resolution stands passed.
Remember that there's a requirement that this vote be done by a majority, and just to ensure that we have that majority, we will go to a voice vote, sir. Miss Motley.
Aye.
Miss Bradshaw.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Miss Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Lieutenant Colonel Bostic.
Aye.
Mr. Sutherland.
Aye.
Ms. Husbands.
Aye.
Mr. Strong.
Aye.
Ms. Caddo.
Aye.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. King.
Aye.
Mr. Phillips.
Aye.
Mr. Griffith.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Weir.
Aye.
Mr. Abrams. Your Honor, Mr. Rowe.
Aye.
Mr. Goodenajo.
Aye.
Dr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Prescott.
Aye.
Mr. Hinkson.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Reverend Atherley.
Go. I don't have it, but go ahead.
Hmm?
He hasn't called my name yet. Aye.
Mr. Speaker, 25 honorable members voted in favor of the resolution, therefore satisfying the request for a majority of the members.
In conformity with the constitutional requirements, this resolution stands passed. Honorable Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, we've come to the end of today's sitting. I therefore beg to move the adjournment of the House until the Tuesday, the 26th of October at 10 a.m.
Beg second.
The question is that this honorable chamber be adjourned until the 26th day, Tuesday, the 26th day of October at 10 a.m. in the forenoon. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against it, please say no. Meeting the ayes have it. This honorable chamber stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 26th day of October at 10 a.m. in the forenoon.
And lunch is in the